Buddy, happy Wednesday and welcome back to the fifth episode of the Escandalo. Joining me today, community activist, overall badass, and friend, we have Danielle Garrido. Danielle, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I'm so grateful to be here.
For sure. So, before we even get into your organization, the things that you do now in Miami, I kind of just want to lay a little bit of groundwork as to how we even got here, because we met campaigning.
Right. We actually met way back in probably 2018.
Like the beginning.
Yeah, I was working for Mamos, which I loved. It was an amazing experience. Definitely best job opportunity I could have had fresh out of high school.
Appreciate it.
So yeah, we met doing that, and honestly, it was a great. It was kind of the first time I was really like hands-on in my community, that I got to walk the streets,
Right.
Talk to people, see what was going down.
And I love being a debateful person, being vocal, but there is a difference when you get into the nitty gritty. So I love that you've kind of like specialized, right? Because if you think about it, campaigning is just, it's like direct marketing, right? Hey, hi, yeah, good cause, bye.
Yeah.
But now you've developed in this space. So can you tell us a little bit about what you do and how you got to just like what made you want to get into fighting against homelessness and helping those in need?
Well, so first of all, the way we started our whole community care organization was my friend Laura and co-founder. She has a strong background in public administration, and she knows like we're all kind of the same. We all have an interest in being more hands-on in our community and kind of like spreading awareness within our circles,
right.
So she figured, hey, we have the tools amongst us. We have the internet at our fingertips. Like, I work with sourcing products. We have another co-founder who is a graphic designer, so she does great with all our graphic design. We have another girl who has a lot of experience in distributions and has worked with other organizations in the past. So she just messaged us all in a group chat, and like all together with our little qualities combined.
You just came together. You like Justice Leagued it.
Yeah, we Justice Leagued it, and we said, dude, this is like the least we can do for our community. If we say we care so much, we want to see what's going on out there.
What is it exactly that Community Care South Florida does?
So we started. Well, our first distribution was back in, I believe, November. We started by just like basically ordering a bunch of bulk hygiene products on Amazon. So like nail clippers, ponchos, water bottles, toothbrushes, toothpaste.
And you got these funds through donations, through your own personal. Like, how did you connect the dots?
So yeah, we basically just, like I said, we have someone who's great with graphic design. And, everything pops off on Instagram these days. We just posted our little post on Instagram. We created a specific, we do only accept donations through Cash App and Venmo because we want all of our monetary donations to be all in one place. They never hit our personal accounts. We want to be really transparent with that. So we got those donations from, our family, our friends, people on Instagram who just like the cause. And then we went ahead and ordered everything, and we went out with, we actually connected with another organization, ASH, which is a small hand.
ASH, saying like ASH?
Yeah, ASH.
Okay.
And she's almost pretty much a one-man show, and she is incredible. Like, she helped us with locations.
ASH is a person and an organization, entity. She's just like all the hats.
Yeah, she's just, all the heat right now. So she helped us out with our locations. She told us like where to go, because, where do you go to find the homeless people in Miami? They do a lot of work, so they have like locations pinpointed. So
collaboration is really important when you start going into these communities. Now, was it downtown? Like, where have you seen the highest concentration of homelessness in Miami-Dade?
Well, honestly, there's people all over the place. There's a lot of people in South Dade. There's a lot of people downtown, Brickell, right by the wharf. I know everyone goes to the wharf and sees what's going on.
What's crazy? I go to the wharf a lot, and real talk, like, it is like tragic how you have so much like bustling, like metropolitan, Great Gatsby like vibes, right? That is supposed to be conducive of a happy, healthy society. But yet, literally, like, bro, like,
down the block,
bro,
you
can't get away from it.
No, you can't.
And it's right there. And it was fucked up.
Yeah.
Is we all just get in our cars and ride out.
Right. I mean, I've definitely been there on either side of the doors. You know what I mean? I've been there at nighttime watching the wharf pop off, but just, hanging out with our houseless friends, giving them what they need, having conversations. I've also been, walking out of the wharf and seeing what's going on out there, too. So, You
said houseless. Is there a type of like jargon change? Is it preferable to say one or the other? Maybe I'm not so educated on the term, so I just noticed that. Like, is that the preferable way to?
Yeah, I think it's just the more
Because you
sensitive
think
way to
homeless is
say.
like demeaning, like saying it like.
I don't think it's demeaning to say homeless, but it's just there's a difference between a house and a home to a lot of people.
Damn, yo,
You know what I mean?
backtrack.
To a lot
There's
of
a
people.
difference between a house and a home.
Facts, like 100%.
Yo, those are bars.
100%. It's the truth. There's like, you know, you can. They have homes. You know, they have their tents. They have their friends, their family, their dogs, their kids, jobs. You know, like these are people with regular lives and just not. Maybe not so regular, but not regular houses. You know, they don't have those physical walls that we have around us. So houses is just probably a little more politically correct way of saying, you know?
Right. So apart from the food drives and just the distributions, I saw that you were doing this on your thing with the socks, the $1 for socks.
Oh, yeah.
Is it really that cheap just to get a pair of socks?
Actually, yes. When you're buying in bulk, 100%, you can probably get socks for $1 a pair. Also, we figured, you know, I think people feel a little bit like embarrassed or something to donate $1 or $2 or $3,
but that's like how it accumulates.
That's how it accumulates, and it means so much that if you have $1 or $2 or $3 to spare, you're sending them to us to help out. Like I think we got more donations and more different kinds of people donating when we put that out there, and people found out, hey, $1 actually gives a human a pair of socks that they don't have.
Do you think? Okay, so let me try and preface this one question. So when I see how like philanthropic or how people can help, I never really account for like the action, right? Like you always see like, yo, donate here and this money is gonna be used for XYZ. And what I found with you is that yours is like, you give me money, I'm an Amazon deliver and it drops like it's A to B.
Yeah.
But I do think consumers and just people in general have a distrust when it comes to where my money goes.
100%.
So what would you say to those people that are like, oh, I don't like donating online, like, or I don't like, I want to help, but I don't mess with that type of stuff.
No, and we get a lot of that, which is super fair.
You probably get DMs like, yo, is this legit?
Yeah. Like, so what are you spending my money on? You know, which is why we try to be really transparent. We have those accounts where like the money, we use our Cash App card and that's it. The money stays there. Also, we really try to post, you know, what we're buying when we're buying in bulk, when we're going out.
And you think buying in bulk is, so that's a good strategy, right? Because obviously the more units you have, the less, but is there like a certain number? Like obviously it could be probably more expensive because there's just so much of it. So how much would you say, like, how much can $500 do?
$500 can definitely do one full distribution. And I would say, I mean, in each of our distributions, it's like, we don't really just like get all this stuff and then go donate it somewhere. We get it, we pack it into our cars, distribute it. We get volunteers. We have an amazing group chat of volunteers. And we all just go drive out to little spots we see in the city and we talk to people. We give them what they need. We kind of let them choose what
based
they
off
need.
the stuff that they,
right.
Yeah.
But what I would say to people who don't feel comfortable donating money is that we definitely take physical donations as well. Like we'll accept pretty much anything useful because, you know, there's going to be a use for it out there. It doesn't have to fit within our.
And that's another thing. Like when people talk about participating in philanthropy, it's almost like there's so many different ways that a person can contribute. So apart from giving physical money and doing the, there's a CEO of Live Like Bella. She always says, her name is Nicole Puente. And one day you're going to be a CEO of a nonprofit. I can already tell.
I truly hope so.
No, fact. And she always says that you can give either your time, your talent, or your treasure. So apart from the stuff people can give, people can also volunteer.
100%. Like actually how I mentioned, we have a whole WhatsApp full of volunteers, like people we know, people we don't know, just people on Instagram. We're just good people. And they say, hey, when I have the time, I want to know who needs help. So we have actually a bunch of different orgs in there and a whole, you know, group of volunteers, and people will ask for help pretty consistently. Hey, I need help picking up some groceries to go distribute this weekend, or I need help. We need a car with more space. And when people are available, they'll go ahead and be like, yeah, let's go. I'm ready. Let's do this. So that's a great resource to have. That's a good way to contribute your time.
I just want to hear what have you heard back from the actual people that you give these goods to obviously you make an impact, but so, I remember when I did a similar thing, but I was way younger. It was like with a church thing that we would just give stuff out, and the look on their face when you would just, they felt like their whole day has been made. Can you talk about an experience that you had like that, or something that stuck out to you while doing this?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there's been so many people I've come in contact with that have definitely gone home and been like, oh, I wish I could have talked to them for another hour or two, at
Just
least.
to pick their brains.
Yeah, just to pick their brains. I mean, we've had so many conversations with people who are like just good, regular people who are well-educated, more educated than I am. I've gone to all the universities around Europe, people who are super well-traveled, people who have been filmmakers in the past, like really intelligent.
People that were a part of society.
Yeah, really intelligent, regular people who have, accomplished things the way we accomplish things and who have responsibilities, jobs, dogs, families, like regular people. There's a lot of just like, I feel like we draw this line between ourselves and homeless.
Right. Like, sorry to cut off, but how do I say it? Like the stigma behind it makes you want to just like pretend they're not even there.
Right.
Like when I'm in my car and I'm trying to get vulnerable here, and I'm not trying to come off as like a dick, but this is like the reality. Like I have been in my car, there's a guy holding a sign, and I try my hardest to not even look at him.
Right.
I try to not even, like I try to disassociate the humanity behind what's going on.
Right, and that's the most common thing
and the reality is I have every possibility to contribute. Like $1 to me or to anybody that has a job and that can pay, you know what I mean?
Right,
like
it's $1.
And but then when I kind of try and guilt myself, the other side's like, he's just gonna spend that money on blah blah blah,
this or that.
like he doesn't just, like, why is he still here? Like you try to justify the almost like, so I really do want to get, because we have plenty of time. I really do want to get into almost like the symptoms of houseless. What was the term again?
Houseless people.
Of how somebody can go from having a home to not, because like you said, there are many really good people that just formed part of society, but something happened in their lives or a circumstance until that, that got them to this place.
Right, 100%. So there's well, actually, something that you mentioned, we draw the line between ourselves and homeless people, and we feel like that could never happen to us. You know what I mean? Like, oh,
I literally feel impervious. Like
I would
this
never end up in this situation because I would never commit a crime, or I would never, do these horrible things that we assume homeless people have to have done to end up on the streets.
Or my parents who provide for me could never die right now and leave me with all of this crippling debt. Or
my job could never fire me. I could never have an accident and not be able to pay the medical bills, or I could never make a bad investment.
Like these things are foreign, like we're impervious to them.
Right, things that happen to any human being that just, like more of us than not in this country are one freak accident away from being homeless.
Total cataclysmic.
And super unknowingly. Like how we don't walk around like, oh, if I get fired today, tomorrow's my house is gone. Like we don't think of those things, but like it's true that's the reality for a lot of regular Americans.
Right, like you spend just again like a hypothetical, you pay your mortgage, you're all alone in your house, it burns down, you can't afford to go to a hotel, or there's not particularly a service that's going to put you up or address these ailments because it's assumed this is your property, so this is your problem.
Right, exactly. So there's so many situations like that. Like we also obviously have shelters and resources like that within the city, but like we have.
It definitely doesn't account for the entire houseless population.
Exactly. There's just there's just not enough room, no shelters to hold all the people that need to be helped.
And do you think the way how and you've obviously been to these shelters and you've seen, but do you think the way that it's run is the most effective? Do you think there's, and this is kind of where I want to get also, like when we talk about the causes, I've done a little bit of a research in how governments in the past have addressed homelessness and how they plan to address, and how they have been with a couple of anecdotes, but we'll leave that for a little bit later.
Well, I would say, I mean, it's tough. There's a lot to be done on a way grander scale than what we do, So I don't know. It's tough to say what people could do. I mean, I do think that shelters do a great thing. They're super effective. Are there things that are more effective? I mean, at the end of the day, there's like, it is a sort of like pyramid when you're dealing with a shelter. Like there is someone on top who is getting paid. There's people in between who are getting paid. So not that these places don't help so much and do so much work, but there's kind of a difference between being just a smaller group of people just on the streets. Like we don't have a payroll, no one getting paid for doing what we do. So there's less risk of like someone maybe doing for the wrong reasons, or someone maybe dipping their hand in the pot and taking out, there's a lot less of that happening when you're kind of just dealing with local organizations.
But also on the other side, having all of that infrastructure to be able to
you have a way greater reach.
So and that just brings me back to like the collaboration when you work with other organizations, like, and with Ash, like, what would you say is like the next step for your org in terms of in fighting the fight?
Right. So Ash is actually like they've really been like our main inspiration and who really helped us get off the ground and told us like how to do what we do, and we collaborate with them a lot. So I know we have ideas of moving forward and like kind of creating a bigger network of orgs, all the orgs getting together and maybe having a mutual storage space where we all put things in and we all take things out, or maybe like collaborating on a schedule and a map so that when we're all hitting locations, we are doing it evenly and like, we're not missing someone for 2 weeks.
How frequently do you guys go out? Is it like a monthly thing? Is it?
We try to do monthly community care, but Ash does pretty much every Friday. And then there are other great orgs like Hot Plates for the Houseless, Community Fridge, Village Fridge, that all have their own little methods of, contributing to the community.
In terms of volunteering, this group chat, how does one go about it? We just DM you and you let us in, like, what's up?
You DM community care, you DM Ash, you DM me, anyone who you see is involved with this, you reach out to us. We're going to be more than happy to throw you in the group chat and welcome you.
So I want to kind of get into the symptomologies of houselessness, how people fall in these situations, and then what you've seen throughout. Like, if you could interject anecdotes to kind of bolster this, and then we'll kind of try and prescribe legislation for the commissioners and the mayors and the people of the city of Miami, right? Because there's one idea that I think could work, but it requires, I guess, understanding what it is that we're trying to achieve.
Right.
So there's a lot of problems that come with being houseless, right? Like, people, apart from like the mental and the physical, it actually, like, the bigger picture, and I'm not trying to, so some of these things might kind of sound like cold and heartless, but I'm kind of seeing it from a like political like lens, right? Because when you look at houselessness, and if you look at places like Los Angeles, and if you look at places where this is being experienced like in the masses, it lowers property value and it increases crime rate. So houselessness just doesn't come with just the spatial part of it, but
100%.
all this other activity. So I think that activity is not only the cause, but it's also what keeps them in this perpetual thing. Because if you look at drug use in these communities, it's rampant.
Right, rampant. That's 100%. You go on the streets, you come with us on a distribution, you're going to see people on drugs. That's obviously a regular thing you're going to see. I will say, like, that was a great point you made. What the government really also has a problem with is the lower property value and the crime going on within the streets. Recently in Miami, I know that their solution to this has been to whip out the dumpster trucks, come down the streets, and just uproot all the tents.
And that doesn't happen in Miami. That happens also in San Diego, especially in the West, and in Colorado and places like this.
Of course, yeah. So that's what people are doing. That's what the.
But that's not really that's not a solution. That's the
opposite of a solution. So they're coming down, they're ripping everyone's things away. Things we go out and distribute: mattresses, blankets, sweaters, their tents, their whatever they have. It's all being, ripped away. I think I was reading the plan recently. I don't know how often it is, but relatively often, pretty often.
Right. Yeah. And I've seen it. The street sweepers, and also they use law enforcement to they obviously talk to the people, and they're like, yo, you gotta go. They'll even put evictions and notices, and they can even be arrested for just being there.
Exactly.
So,
which I don't see that fixing the problem.
And here's
capacity.
The thing:
you're just displacing people from one location to the next.
So let's just say the street sweeper, to pay the technology, the thing, the service, all of it. That's what I'm trying to get at. Like let's just keep adding. Like, let's make a laundry list. And we'll add all this money, right? Again, let's say hypothetically it's like $100,000. Let's say it's probably more, because they have a lot of those.
100%. If you take a look at it, like, just one of the people that is involved in this plan, their salary is $100,000. So imagine how that's just one little,
taxpayer dollars.
Just
for
one little
sure.
person. Imagine how big the budget is
And that's
on
one
just
thing.
wiping out.
And then when you add on top of like the law enforcement and that goes to, so to speak, policing the homeless and kind of getting them moving and all this stuff is also more. So one of the things that I've seen is from a commissioner out in Austin, Texas. His name is Greg. He's Hispanic, but his last name I'm a butcher because I don't really know if it's Cesar or if it's like Cesar. I don't know. It's like Cesar or whatever.
He's Hispanic, we're gonna go with Cesar.
He's Hispanic. So Greg, and he's definitely more on the progressive side. So the resilience that he's gotten from his Republican counterparts has been like, yo, you're super Antifa, like defund the police. No, he is calling though for a reformation of a police budget because he says, you see a lot of money going to policing things that aren't really like problems.
Right.
I mean, it's a problem for somebody,
perhaps
but
they're just not problems for the police. Like right now, the police have a huge budget and they're called on to answer a huge realm of problems that go from crime to like maybe you're dealing with someone who's having a mental breakdown of some sorts. And they're not
are the
dangerous.
police the best fit? And again, this isn't a bash on cops because we love cops and we support them. But are police officers the best fit to deal with a houseless situation when you have drugs involved or you have XYZ things? Obviously, if it's like criminal activity, then the police must be involved.
Exactly.
So that's what I'm trying to understand. Like there's got to be a nexus where the money that goes to try and address these issues can be a bit more effective.
Right.
So what Greg has proposed is a restructuring of police budgets to open up, so to speak, like it's like a shelter, but it really functions more of a hotel because the idea is that there's going to be an extended stay component. Like the person is staying for a prolonged time because there is a mechanism in place where they get them off drugs while at the hotel.
Right.
They form a part of a microeconomy of the hotel where it's almost self-sustaining.
Yeah.
Where the same members, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the taxpayer dollars go to obviously the paying of the space, the housing, the building, and the infrastructure. But the labor can be sourced with people like your organization.
100%.
You see what I mean? That you can use the community to service that.
100%.
So that's what Greg's proposing, and he's seen some advancements in it because he's done it very small at the Austin level. So he's been able to decrease homelessness in Austin by 10% in a year just from the center because the center can house 500 people at a time.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, I'm huge on that. Community involvement is like, so vital to fixing these problems. Like you said, like getting people who do what we do in to help out. That's the community being involved. And I think if you have more community involvement, maybe you have more volunteers, more people in a position to deal with situations that aren't criminal activity that maybe the police don't need to go deal with, you're going to have a better outcome all around.
It's crazy because and I just keep thinking about back to what you said about you're one something away from being in that shoe
accident.
And I recall like, and also it's I think a part of like your parents, like they'll tell you like, yo, don't touch that person or don't, and it's like embedded in us to just see them as not human, as not.
Back to what you said about, I don't want to give my dollar to you because you're gonna go buy a pack of cigarettes, you're gonna go buy,
or you're gonna go drink it, you're gonna go whatever.
Well, who nowadays doesn't have some type of vice? Who doesn't go home and have a glass of wine or go vape or go get your favorite meal?
So there's a judgmental attitude.
Right, we all. There's not very few of us who are exempt from having a vice like that. And what makes us more worthy of doing those things than someone who's homeless? Like, you don't deserve to relax and smoke your cigarette because you don't have a house. And who am I to take that away from you? What if I'm giving you my dollar? It's not, with a contract attached that you have to use it for a McChicken.
Yeah, it's again, it's just that stigma, right? And then it also, when there is people like in that situation and they're trying to like go above it and get out of it, they're met with resistance. Like, no, you can't. Like, and it doesn't just come from other people, but institutions, 100%. Right? So I'm just curious, why do you think people are so unreceptive to when homeless people, there's a bunch of things personally, but or better yet, let me rephrase it. How can we change that stigma?
How can we change that stigma? That's a great
Because
question.
because apart from education and donating, like at the end of the day, people are still gonna feel what they feel, right? So does it fall on the houseless to, so to speak, be more friendly, or is it us that we're not inviting or we're not receptive to certain conditions?
Right.
Because I've done this thing where I'll be like, okay, that person seems like, it's different. And then you get into this like judgy, like whole thing, but that's not how you address the homelessness problem.
That is not how you.
It's just I'm just trying to like piece it together, like while we're doing this, like.
Right. In regards to the stigma, I would definitely say I don't think it's on the houseless to be like, hey, I know you're really, really scared of me for reasons that
I don't even
have nothing to do with me, but I'm gonna go out of my way in the midst of my houselessness to make you feel comfortable. No, I don't think that's their responsibility. And ultimately, I don't think I've had one bad experience while going out and distributing or talking to anyone. Everyone I've talked to has been so grateful, so willing to have a conversation. And if they don't feel like having a conversation, they just won't have it. No one's ever been aggressive. No one's ever, made us feel unsafe or uncomfortable. So, but was I nervous to go out the first time? 100%, because I don't know. I have the same beliefs and stigmas that everyone else is a part of that, I'm like, oh my God, are they going to want to talk to us? Are they like, we're kind of intruding on their space? Is this, we're going uninvited. Do they want this? But ultimately, everyone was amazing, and kind of getting out there and experiencing that for myself definitely helped me, release some of my prior judgments that I might have had.
Okay. I'm just trying to I'm really thinking here, okay, we've talked about all of these different symptoms. So if you treat it like medicine, right, there has to be a diagnosis. But there's one saying that I think ultimately applies in these situations. And it's, and you've heard this saying before, it's, you can take a horse, you can bring a horse to water, but
you can't make it drink.
So do you feel like it, like you can give all these resources, you can give all this energy, pero si la persona no quiere cambiar, ellos no cambian?
Well, honestly, we're not under any illusion that we're out here fixing or curing homelessness. That is just it's beyond the scale of what we can currently do, while we
again, it's not just circumstantial. There's a lot of mental things. There's a lot of situational that can be over such a prolonged period of time.
Systemic hurdles, and there's a lot of other stuff. What we can do, what we can contribute is go make a really uncomfortable situation a little bit more comfortable. That's ultimately what we know that we can provide is physical items that you might not have. We can go have a conversation and hang out with you for a little bit. But in terms of, solving homelessness, that's not something we can do. What we would hope to do in the future is maybe have more resources in terms of things like, job preparation and stuff like that is more like a kind of transitioning back into society project, and I'm so sure that there are people right now who are already doing that.
Yeah, almost like kind of like a big brother, big sister,
right?
Where you get somebody and you kind of just are on the follow up, making sure that they're
just maintaining a relationship with them.
So we're almost done, but what I wanted to say is that I really do appreciate the work that you do, because it's one of these things where it's nobody's doing this.
Yeah, dude.
So the fact that people actually, that you exuberate all this care towards this is I commend it, and I know this is only going to grow and get bigger and better. So if you want to contribute, if you want to help Danielle, Ashley, any of these wonderful organizations help and support our houseless community in Miami-Dade County and abroad, please follow them on their social medias and reach out. They're always doing donation drives all the time, and you can contribute either physical material or actual donations via Zelle, Cash App. I bet if you could take Bitcoin, you would.
Yeah, I would absolutely love to accept Bitcoin.
We'll take Bitcoin.
I would love to accept Bitcoin. But like I said, what we really wanted to emphasize was that this is not a huge deal to us. You know what I mean? This is the bare minimum that we feel we could be doing, because you have a couple friends and a computer, an iPhone, and that's it. You have all the resources that you need to make a little bit of a difference or help out a little bit. So what I really want to get across is that it's like a lot easier than people might think. And if anyone's interested in reaching out and getting involved, we will make it as easy as possible.
Community Care, South Florida. Daniela, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Alrighty. Dale. See you guys.